A opens up the automation window, and like I said, you can turn it off and on at the left there, and I prefer it off. Um, the right and left arrows on the computer keyboard will move by increments set in the timeline grid dialog, which is accessed by a tiny diagonal ruler icon at the upper right of the main window. I'm clicking on that now, and you see that pop-up window. You could choose a 1/1 note. That means a whole note or whole measures. So if you watch, if I hit the right arrow, it's moving forward one bar at a time. Oh, another keyboard command that's really useful is, let's see, Control, Option, and right arrow will move by large increments. Will zoom in. So it's like this is zooming out by Control, Option, and left arrow. And then this is zooming in by Control, Option, right arrow. That's real useful. And then just the arrow by itself will advance by the increments set in this grid dialog. Again, I'm accessing it on that tiny diagonal ruler icon in the upper right of the main window. And another grid appears like that. Here's the editor window. That was Command E. There's another grid to set the grid for editing, like for note entry. So where that is set for a 16th note, the note that you enter is going to be a 16th note, or this 1/1 note would be a whole note, or 4 beats. Option Command N for a new track, and Command Delete to delete a selected track. So like here's that track that initially showed up, the grand piano you see at the top. I'm clicking on it, and Command Delete, and it's gone. Or Command Z, undo, and it'll come back. Timeline cycling repeats all tracks in a specified region. When cycling is on, a lower strip appears in the timeline. I'll turn it on, type the letter C. Lower strip appears in the timeline with a horizontal yellow marker showing the beginning and end of a range of time that will be cycled during play. So I will hold Control, Option, and type the right arrow so I can zoom in. I have to get that straight. And then I can adjust that cycling area by clicking on the right end, adjust the length of it. The grid's now set on 1 bar, so it's going to snap to those. Whereas if I set it by the way, the grid on the right of the screen, remember up there that diagonal icon, I'm setting for a half note. Now as I change this, it should go, see, a half beat at a time. I'm not doing that with my cursor. I can't go halfway between these two spots because the grid is set to snap to those places. So that it's just automatically going by that increment. See, it's going like a half a bar at a time. And then on the right end, I could do the same thing. I change the length of it with the right end. So again, timeline cycling repeats all the tracks in a specified region. When it's on, that yellow strip appears, and by clicking and dragging on either end, you can change its length. By dragging the body of the marker away from the ends, like I'll do it in the center, you can move the whole thing. If you record audio or MIDI with the cycle button on, you can do multiple takes without stopping. So here, for example, I will record some MIDI in that track, and I'll just use this drum controller, which, since that's on a, that's a drum pad controller. Well, that's set on piano, it'll play piano notes. doesn't matter. I'm just making a demonstration. So I press R to start recording, and I'll type some notes in there. Oops. Let's turn off the other tracks. Okay, do that again. So press R to stop that, by the way. I press the space bar. Press R to start recording again, and I'll erase that little track. Okay, R to start recording. And I'll tap on my drum pad controller. And then each one of those takes is available for playback. I just click on a little oval icon that shows in the upper left. Since I did 3 takes, 3 rounds through that cycle, shows the number 3, and I can choose take 1 to play back, or take 2. By the way, if I wanted the metronome off now, I could turn it off in the control menu or by typing Command U. And then it's take 3. And then I can choose any one of those takes. Like I'll choose take 1. And oops, got to click right on the icon. And then I can say delete take 1. So that's going to delete that first take. And what's a little confusing is there were 3 takes there, remember? So when I said delete take 1, well, it took off take 1, but the remaining ones that used to be 2, 3 are now 1, 2. And then let's see if undo will work. I think it'll work. Yeah, they're all 3 are back by hitting Command Z, undo. And another thing you can do is delete unused takes. Well, since what that means is unselected takes. I have take 1 selected, and if I choose delete unused takes, the other 2, takes 2 and 3, will disappear. Confirm. Okay, now I just have the 1 take.